All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. In this quick lesson, I want to go over the 400 years of slavery. Many people are confused. Many people believe that the 400 years of slavery is talking about here in America, Babylon the Great. But the 400 years of slavery is talking about when we were in ancient Egypt. All right, now Apostle Ramlab went into this video beautifully. And this person, Joseph Ruffin, still came to the common board to pour out his folly. And you see it. All right, I'm not even going to read it. You see it. Okay, now the 400 years of slavery was dealing with ancient Egypt. So I want to hit a few precepts, and Lord willing, that this lesson may be edified. So let's start off in the book of Acts. All right, start off with the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 1. Now this is Stephen about to go over the history, okay, dealing with the history of what even took place in ancient Egypt. Acts 7, verse 1. Then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, fathers, hearken, the God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran. And he said unto him, get thee out of the country, or out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Haran. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. Let's get a precept. It's the book of Exodus, 12, verse 7. Salakia, the book of Genesis, chapter 12. I'll start at verse 6. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 5. And Abraham took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came, and Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Morah, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. Okay, so it's being told to Abraham that his seed, right, was going to get the land of Canaan. That was the promise that the Lord have given to Abram, right? Which later his name was changed to Abraham, right? I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back to the book of Acts. 7 verse 5 again, and he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on, yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. And the Most High spake on the wise, that this seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said the Most High, and after that they shall come forth and serve me in this place. All right. So now we're going to go to the book of Genesis, the 15th chapter, which is basically going to say the same thing, because this is what Stephen is going over, our history, and we're going to further break it down and get some understanding and prove to you or not prove, but show you that this is talking about ancient Egypt, whether you hear or whether you forbear, whether you get it or not. It's the book of Genesis 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Let's go back a little bit. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them. Who were they going to serve? Let's go to the book of Exodus 1, verse 11. Let's start at verse 7. We'll start at verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. Right? And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Where were we located at? We were in the land of Egypt at this time. All right. And it says, now let's continue on. Now therefore rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. So he didn't know, the good things that Joseph had did for the land of Egypt. All right. Remember, Joseph interpreted that dream for Egypt. Okay, I believe it was the 7 years of plentifulness and the 7 years of famine, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, where they stored up all this food, right? And that really, the Lord had that happen through the Spirit to preserve Israel. All right, and this is why Jacob, their father, he sent the brothers down there to get some food from Egypt, and then they end up going down there after they found out Joseph was their brother. Okay. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come and let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. All right, so this is what happened. This was us serving the Egyptians. Genesis chapter 15. Verse 13, it says, and shall serve them, the Egyptians, and they shall afflict them 400 years. The book of Exodus 12. Verse 40, it says, Now concerning, Slakia. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. Right? We were dwelling in Egypt for 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. So after 430 years, that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. You see? It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. That is the night of the Lord to be observed for all the children of Israel in their generations. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. All right. So we left Egypt after 430 years. We were what? We were afflicted for 400 years, But before then, people were there. And you had Joseph there in Egypt. All right. Joseph was there in Egypt already. Right. Then Jacob, came down to Egypt with his sons. So they were there for a time, roughly 30 to 30 years. And then what took place after Joseph died? That Pharaoh arose, and he didn't know the beautiful things that Joseph did for Egypt. So what he say? You know what? We putting the children of Israel in bondage. Let's read it again. It says, verse 13, Genesis 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. All right. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. This is talking about the Egyptians. Exodus 6, verse 6. Wherefore I say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord. Or know what? Ooh. Let's start at 4. Exodus 6, verse 4. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of the pilgrimage wherein they were strangers, talking about the Israelites. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage. And I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you. I will what? I will redeem you, save you, with a stretched out arm, with great judgment. Right? Then it's talk about the nation whom the Lord shall judge. How did he judge the Egyptians? The 10 plagues. That's how they were judged. Let's continue on and we'll get it. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you into a land concerning which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, and I will give it to you for an heritage. I am the Lord. There you go. But let's go back into where it says, and I will redeem you, verse 6, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm with great judgments. Speaking about the 10 plagues, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms. This is how we know this is talking about the Egyptians. The book of Psalms 78, verse 43. How he had wrought his signs in Egypt and his wonders in the field of Zoan, and had turned their rivers into blood and their floods that they could not drink. He sent diverse sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them. He gave also their increase to the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their succum trees with frost. He gave up their cattle unto hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them fierceness of anger with wrath and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence. He smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, so that they feared not, but the sea overwhelmed their enemies. And he brought them to the border of his sanctuary, even to this mountain which his right hand had purchased. Boom. All right. This is how the Egyptians got judged. These were the judgments. Let's get another precept. Not that one. Nope. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 11. Let's start at verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Right? Now we know there's an ancient Egypt and there's a spiritual Egypt. This is talking about the spiritual Egypt. And smite Egypt with plagues as before. The ancient Egypt got plagued with 10 plagues. Now this Egypt, which is also known as America, is going to get plagued as well, just as ancient Egypt was plagued. How do we know this place is Egypt, or spiritually called Egypt, Sodom and Egypt? Let's go to the book of Revelation 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. Where's that great city? America, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. This is a place of bondage to who? To the Israelites. And it's spiritually called Sodom because the Moism that's going on here in Babylon the Great. In Egypt, a lot of things here in Babylon the Great, customs, building designs, a lot of things have more than what you think. Similarities come from Egypt, right? That is promoted in this place, America, where also our Lord was crucified. So where the ways of the Lord was X'd out, right? Because this place is nothing but an anti-Messiah. Exodus 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. America, Babylon the Great is what? A place of bondage for the Israelites. Right? When you're in bondage, aren't you oppressed? I believe you are. Jeremiah 50. Oh, not that one. Jeremiah. Can't think of it. But the scriptures talk about, I thought it was 50 and 22. Let's try 51. Let's see. It's the book of Jeremiah. Oh, it might be. It's Isaiah. No, it is Jeremiah. Yep, Jeremiah 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Where were we oppressed together at? In America, Babylon the Great. Another word for being oppressed is to be what? To be burdened, or in bondage. The Israelites were oppressed together where? In bondage in America, Babylon the Great, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. And all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. So when we go back to Genesis, the 15th chapter, verse 14 again, and also that nation whom they shall serve, which were the Egyptians, will I judge. I just explained it. And afterward they shall come out with great substance. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 12, 36. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. Now, here's an argument. This is the first time I ever heard this argument. He says, also, they did not leave with great possessions when they left Egypt. What did the scripture just say? And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. We took that the Egyptians had. All right. Let's go to verse 35. And it read, it says, and the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians. What did we borrow? Jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. Aren't silver and gold real? This will be real money. This is riches right here. This will be considered great possessions. All right. And you said they didn't, but they did. Also, they did not leave with great possessions when they left Egypt. Remember, times were so hard they wanted to go back to Egypt? But why was that? Just because times was hard and they wanted to go back to Egypt does not mean they didn't leave with great possessions. But let's just go to it, right? Let's just go to it. Matter of fact, we can go to Numbers. We could read that one. You got to look at the situation of what was going on there and why Israel was doing and saying what they were saying. I believe it's Numbers 14, right? Numbers 14, verse 3. Let's start at the top. It says, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people... Nope. Let's start at verse 13, because this is how you get more of the point. All right. Let's see. This is Numbers chapter 13, verse... Again, let's go. Let's go. See. All right, so let's start at verse 25. Because this is important. You got to read this information on the reason why they was complaining. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and to the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there, and the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we are in their sight. In all the chapter 14, Numbers 14, verse 1, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night, and the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto them, would the Most High that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in this wilderness? And wherefore have the Lord brought us into this land to fall by the sword?